Not being there prepared, I spent most of the day with middle, and middles are fun. But when you're dealing with a juvenile, trying to find a hospital bed is nearly impossible. So that was, Thomas even got involved in that. I'll tell you that.
I
7:05, I call this meeting to order. At this time period, according to the agenda, we have the time frame for public comments. Anyone in the audience would like to make comments, now is their time.
Maybe we should go around and introduce ourselves.
Do what?
Go around and introduce ourselves.
The commission?
Well, everybody.
Or you want everybody?
Everybody. I don't know
We
most.
could do that.
I don't know most of them.
Well, the commission being last. I am Larry Richmeyer, I'm the sheriff, but I'm also the Franklin County Emergency Management Chairman.
Tom Creighton, and I'm your new EMA next week.
Nick Wilson, I represent Sheffield.
Arlen Olson, I represent Alexander.
Jim Warwick, representing Coulter.
Kent Morton, Mayor of Latimer. I'm Mike Norman, and representing Hampton.
Sean Porter, representing Geneva.
Sean Dietz, Hampton.
Mike Nolte, representing the county.
And our guest star.
Travis Fisher, Hampton Chronicle.
Hey, we got
Hi guys,
Hi Jerry.
Jerry
let's go have fun.
I like your hat, Jerry.
Michelle Giddings, County.
I can barely hear you.
Not much we can.
Oh guys,
We can hear you.
We can hear
We
You
can
can't hear us.
though.
okay.
Diane Brawley, Hampton City Council.
Ron Dunt, City Hampton.
Craig Eckhart, Hampton City Council.
Val Huckabee, City Council.
Brian Miller, Nettle Avenue.
Corey Everlane, Frank County Supervisor.
Dick Lucasmeyer, Hampton City Council.
Okay. Thank you, folks. You folks have any comments you want to make before we get started? Seeing no comments. As of yesterday, the discussions between the city of Hampton and the Board of Supervisors is basically deadlocked. And the commission member, here's a copy of the minutes of what transpired during that meeting. And the question was asked yesterday if emergency management was willing to take on the communications. Once the discussions there became a deadlock, then we were going to meet tonight one way or the other, so that's why it was lined up after that meeting.
What's that entail?
Basically, what's happening is we've run out of space, as in the city of Hampton has run out of space in the facility that they have. And that's Hampton Dispatch, they are the dispatch, communication center, PSAP, whatever you want to call it, for Franklin County. All fire, law enforcement, and emergency medical basically operate through there, along with they're the answer of the 911 system. And also, through the 911 system, there's also the code red, the mass alert system is all functioning out of there. And a sense of urgency is developed because the 911 equipment, my understanding is no longer serviceable after the first of next year. So, the city has space issues, the county has the space, but we as in the board and the city could not come to an agreement between themselves. And inevitably it was going to come to question to the commission. There was desire to create a communications commission. Well, if you follow the model of Clinton County, Scott County, which we looked at way at the beginning, they have basically the board of directors, which oversees the entire commission. Their board of directors are the mayors and one supervisor of the county, which actually is the same as emergency management. Okay, the county has nowhere else to draw the money from. They could not move them over, like in Sarasota County, they just moved them over to the sheriff's office. Moved them over to the sheriff's office. This is a different scenario, because there was law enforcement to law enforcement. This would be a law enforcement to a civilian commission. So, we have my budget where I'm out of general basic, general supplement, or excuse me, general basic, and general rural basic. There's not enough money there to move dispatch over and make them sheriff's office employees. That's why this proposal that you have before you creates an independent communications commission utilizing you individuals as the elected officials of your towns. So by doing that, then they're able to use the general supplemental as a levy to finance the communications in Franklin County. So I'll just continue on with the proposal I got right here, and it might answer some more of your questions there. The organizational format that I got before you right now is very similar to the proposal, the format that the county and the supervisors worked out, the format of it. You have the board of directors, which the organizational chart will start at basically the bottom of the organizational format. You have the board of directors, which is you guys. You're the ones, they're going to be responsible for budgetary decisions, same as what you are in emergency management. Okay? And the general oversight of the technical oversight board. Now, the technical oversight board is comprised of the users of communications, which would be the sheriff, police chief Sheffield, police chief Hampton, the fire service representatives, the emergency medical services representatives, and emergency management. Those are your main users. So that board, they would be tasked with setting and enforcing priorities, standards for selection, supervision, termination of personnel and policies governing the operation of computers, circuits, and telecommunications terminals used in the process, store, and transmit criminal history information. Okay. But those people are answerable to the board of directors. The board of directors is still in charge. The technical advisory are non-voting. All they do is present to you, the board, the tools to do the job. Okay. Then you have a communications administrator, which would be in charge of dispatch and the E911 system. Okay. That would be their job. They would take care of the day-to-day, and they work with the board of directors and the 911 to establish budgets, and personnel issues, we're working through the technical. And the final format person there is the actual dispatcher, the telecommunicator. And this is just a model that Clinton County and Scott County have used. And it's worked for them, and they're a lot larger county than we are.
So right now, who pays for all this stuff right now? Does the city of Hampton pay for all that's going on now?
No.
Or we all do it out right now?
City of Hampton pays a portion of it.
Okay.
Franklin County proper pays for the balance.
So then us little towns, it's all of our property money going to Franklin County, right?
Franklin County, through that taxation is paid there. Because the no one is charged for dispatch service, because the board of supervisors picks up the balance at the city of Hampton. There's a formula that they came up with years ago, and that's the formula they use to figure out the rate.
So they don't wanna pay for it all in one? That's basically some of the issue too then?
That's part of the issue that they want.
And that rate years ago was set on call value, is that correct?
No, that was just,
Yeah, there was call volume and hours that they was on and that they did it when you wasn't open and there was a whole big formula, sure.
well, it was a formula based on hours in the dispatch,
Okay,
not hours on the road,
sure,
hours in the dispatch.
sure.
So,
And there was something there about this number of calls.
well,
Because isn't it kind of different? I mean, shouldn't Hampton actually pay more because of the size of the town?
not
Compared to,
necessarily.
like, say, Ansel or Geneva?
Well, if, and that's another discussion down the road, how is it gonna get financed? Right now, Hampton is financing their
Right.
portion, and the county's financing the other.
Hampton also has a police department in town that some towns don't.
Yeah.
Well,
And like I
they
said-
use the sheriff, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
You see, Sheffield has 2 officers in it now.
Right.
But we are, we as in the county are paying the dispatch
Right.
used for the police department, fire department, and the emergency squad up there. There's, and that's part of the discussion. Like I said, what I have before you is what I proposed back when this whole project started. There are some sticking points in here, and they will be brought up by the 2 gentlemen sitting to the left of me here. What I have proposed is they come on as county employees. They would follow the salaries and budget guidance for county employees. But also, they would follow the county handbook as personnel. They would follow the law enforcement building protocol, that'd be the housekeeping rules, what we can and can't do within the building. And then the telecommunicator dispatcher, they would also have a departmental standards and operations protocol, an SOP, drawn up by the technical oversight board and approved by the board of directors. So there's no one individual going to be running the whole thing. It's going to be, it ultimately is to end up with this, with the board of directors, not necessarily this one. Now, one of the things that was brought up was, originally was to have 2 separate entities. Have Emergency Management Commission and a Communications Commission. And the early discussions were they got blended together because it's the same individuals. Whether you had 2 meetings on the same night or do it here. The only issue we have to be careful with is the funding. Now, it can be funded, the Communications Commission can be funded through emergency management as a pass-through. The monies are not available for him to use in emergency management. It's gonna have to be kept separate, so it's a bookkeeping issue that will have to be worked out. But if you decide to go with the Communications Commission under the emergency management setup, then we have to make sure that we have a director for the emergency management and we have a director for communications. Because we do not want to dump the duties of the dispatch director and 911 on to emergency management. Their plate's going to be full enough as it is. And that's easily done. We'll go around the room and with the committee, and I know that these gentlemen have some more things to say.
Well, yesterday, the county voted it down because we had contacted 3 attorneys.
You're talking this,
Yes, in our minutes.
Forming the Communications Commission.
that's what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Basically, there was concern that they just transfer that Franklin County is an equal opportunity employer. That was concerned from some attorneys. This Mike Galloway from Des Moines is an employment attorney and a union negotiator. And our negotiator retired, so he will be our person that negotiates all of our union contracts. And he had visited with Corey, and I'm gonna try to summarize some of that, but if the agreement that we voted down, if that would have happened, the dispatchers would have came on, transferred directly into the county, directly into a union on day one, and would have kept the same benefits they had working for the city. Well, the city has better benefits than the county. They have vision and dental, which the county doesn't have. And the legal says if you have them come in, the county and negotiate as an employee, next time we have union contracts up, you know what's gonna happen. And we just don't want to open that can of worms. Now this morning, Mike Galloway called me, and he told me that a 28E with the county as a physical agent will not work, because then the dispatchers are county employees. That is something that is going to give us that problem with them having them extra benefits over other county employees. And I just don't feel that that's fair. And as we go into it further, and he advised against that. He said that he liked the idea best if it's broke out per capita with every entity paying it. That was his suggestion, but it doesn't have to be. And there is a special line item in every city on when they prepare their budget. They can have a line item for emergency management, which would not affect their other budget. Basically, that's what the county's doing, okay? He thought we should back off and regroup some. He said one thing to make this work, this city needs to be the physical agent, and they need to remain city employees. The current proposal, he did not like that there were, in year 3 it was not spelled out who was going to pay what, that it was left up to commission. He was uneasy about that. And he says all cities need to sign on to this, to the 2080. So that means Latimer, Colder, Alexander, everybody needs to sign the 2080. And he says emergency management will need to go out and promote that. And some of the questions there say, well, why can't we just, and this came from the city's attorney, why can't we just have Galloway make up the contract? Well, that's fine. The contract will work at 2080 or whatever. But if he just goes out and makes what he feels is right, that doesn't mean that the county agrees to it. Well, probably going to be because he's our representative, but it doesn't mean the city's going to agree to it, which they need to have legal look at it, would have to have look at it. And I totally understand and agree with that. But it's going to cost $1,000 to have him draw up the contract, the papers. So that gets to be an issue too. You have a question, I can see it.
Couldn't you just offer the job to those people directly, and then with the benefits, instead of this whole,
If,
and then you guys basically,
but see, if we have a 28E and the 28E involves a commission,
okay,
then they automatically transfer and keep all the benefits they have. And we had things worked out. The first we negotiated, Sean.
because even if Hampton was going to I'll just say discontinue their job for the city of Hampton,
Okay,
Can we just offer them?
we had it worked out, we had talked about that they would be terminated by the city of Hampton, and then that they would have, what was their word we used, Sean? Preferential treatment at being hired, okay? And if they wasn't hired, they would be given a written notice why. Well, dispatchers were not happy with that, and things changed, and it got put in there, they shall be hired, and they shall remain with the same years of service, and some of them will start out with 5 weeks vacation, and it just escalated. And I'm not picking on city council members, that's just
A lot of shots.
the way it happened, and I can understand why they did too, because they wanted protection for their employees. But I know that was something that, in the last agreement that was sent to us, the city voted on, that's because it was equal opportunity employer, and if they get the extra benefits, we just can't do that. Okay, Sean.
I guess the biggest confusing part for me is you know, we all sat in a room and the agreement that the city council did pass, we all sat in the Franklin County Supervisor's office with the county attorney, with the city attorney. Both attorneys agreed that it was a good agreement. The city council passed it. And then somewhere between that meeting and the next supervisor's meeting, the county attorney decided that it was no longer a good agreement. And then these other attorneys came into play. And so that's where I'm uneasy, is we have attorneys calling the shots now and not elected officials.
Okay, the difference was there, Sean, what we had agreed on in the supervisor's office went back to the city council, and they changed the wordage where they was gonna be terminated by the city and hired by the county to they shall be hired, and they shall have start at seniority that they currently have. That was,
Seniority was the part that changed, not shall. County attorney agreed to shall hire.
no, we didn't. I don't think. It's the preferential treatment you agreed to.
The principle of the agreement when we were sitting in there was that everybody agreed that the county, or that the city employees should transfer. And, you know, nobody seems to disagree with that. So we seem to be hung up on something that is not going to be an issue past hiring. And the county is concerned about a suit coming forth, which I understand. But in order for a suit to come forth, somebody has to have standing. Joe off the street can't walk up and sue the county because they don't like the agreement. It has to be somebody who wasn't hired. Well, if there's no positions available, then there's no application process, and there's nothing to be hired for. You have 4 positions, you have 4 employees. There's no, it's a transfer process, it's not a hiring process. So I guess that's my confusion, you know. Larry's spot on, I think, with his proposal here. This is where we started, and these are the things I think that we pretty much all agree on. The snag is not in any of this language here. The snag, surprisingly, is not in the financial details. The snag is whether or not the employee is transferred. And I just have a real uneasy feeling for our employees. Because it seems to be real simple. You know, we're trying to move an operation from one building to another. There are 4 very qualified employees who currently work in those jobs. And who should be transferred over. And so I guess I am having a hard time understanding why any attorney would have a problem with that. and I get to hear a justifiable reason.
What's the employee say?
What's that?
What's the employee say?
The employees are upset because they don't feel like they're gonna have a job.
I know, but the city of Hampton's the one kind of trying to switch it to this board, right?
No, this is an idea that has been a long time in the making, and from my understanding, it's not a city idea. This is long before I was elected, but my understanding is this is an idea that came to play, probably even before the supervisors put together this building. And so that's why when they put together this building, there was made sure there was room for dispatching, room for holding facilities, because there was that vision there. And the city sees, hey, we're running out of space, there's equipment needs. The city would be ignorant not to take advantage of that situation. If the county were to offer that space for our use, we would certainly do that. And I don't think having the dispatch employees remain under the city's management is anything that's off the table. But I think for service purposes, and I think for cleaner operation, I think it makes sense to have the communication commission.
Well, it's gonna save your guys' budget too. I mean, that's coming out of your guys', right?
Well, not a lot, because
For salaries.
right, but the citizens of Hampton are still paying for it.
Right.
I'm focused on the citizens, not so much the city's budget.
Okay.
Right now, the citizens of Hampton are paying for this service twice, which no other entity, no other resident,
The biggest too.
but should they be charged
Not
twice?
twice, no, I'm not going
Right,
twice.
right, and that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I watched the meeting yesterday morning, and one of the statements that was made was that, it was along the lines that every entity needs to be involved in the 2080, otherwise they can't take part in the dispatching service. Well, if that's true, then under the current agreement, the only entities that the city of Hampton should be dispatching for should be Hampton Police, Franklin County Sheriff, and that pretty much covers it. Because the county and the city of Hampton are the only entities who pay into it. So under that premise, the sheriff's office and the city of Hampton are the only ones who should be dispatched for. Now, I don't have a problem with the other entities signing on and getting their approval. I think they should be part of it. And that's why we're having this discussion here tonight. But one of the main concerns for me when I started in this process was the fact that citizens of Hampton are being taxed twice for this, and that needs to end. And I think this proposal is a way to clean that up. Now again, I say a major hangup is in the employees, and I just don't see any reason why you can't have employees transfer over. I think if you have two companies and you have one that's closing down an operation, one that's taking in that operation, one of those companies is going to offer to take on those employees, or not. But either way, they're going to be upfront and honest about it. They're going to say, yes, we will accept your employees, or they're going to say, no, we won't. Or they'll make an offer, and which is possible too. The county could very well make all four of those employees an offer, and the employees can either accept it or deny it. The point of the matter is, we need something from the Emergency Management Commission. If this commission is willing to move forward with Communications Commission and willing to accept communications as a responsibility, we need something from this commission for the council to approve as the current managers of those dispatchers. If not, then we need something, we need to work on something from the supervisors. But we need to start looking forward, and we need to start doing it quickly. And, I think if this commission is agreeable to take on this responsibility, I think we need to very quickly have all of the council, whoever's going to be involved, all of the legal counsel, whoever's going to be involved, so that there's not a lot of phone calls going on, get together and hash out an agreement, air out all the issues, and get something on the table. Because we started this over a year ago, and it needs to come to a close quickly. We sat here earlier this month, and we went around the table, and there wasn't much of an issue with that agreement that was presented. Everybody was in agreement that those employees should transfer. There was some question about the language, but everybody agreed on the principle. And I'd like to see us move forward on that premise. That being said, I'm open to hear any other suggestions, and the city is certainly willing to work. The council's all here. They want to hear concerns. They want to hear what the questions are firsthand. But we got to get this wrapped up. And like Larry said, we're under a time crunch with equipment. So that's, I guess, kind of where this is at.
Well, and I think some of the things Sean says, okay, we have some attorneys that say we've got to be an equal opportunity employee. Galloway says they can transfer, but then he says they keep their benefit package they have. Now, I don't think it's fair to have 4 county employees that all of a sudden are getting vision and dental at $100 a month, extra cost, that the other employees aren't. And you know what happens when you have unions? It's just going to snowball. It's constant, we had a draft 11 that we agreed on in the supervisor's office. That's when both attorneys were there. They went back to the city council and they made changes. If the city would have approved draft 11, I think everything would have been signed.
The problem city council had with draft 11 was the fact that the employees were not guaranteed their jobs. And that was a sticking point with all 6 of them. That was a unanimous vote. Personally, I felt, obviously I was part of that discussion, personally I felt that the language was strong enough. I don't have a vote on the city council, and I do agree with the council that they should be guaranteed their jobs. Because, they've held them for a combined 75 years.
What about for the budget if they can't afford all 4 of them?
For
All 4 employees?
who can't afford them? The emergency man.
Yeah,
The budget's already been established that they can be afforded.
but that's afforded through the city of Hampton, right? Or is that through the?
That's funded through a formula that's in the proposal where the county funds 60%, the city funds 40%.
And currently it's the other way around.
But also, gentlemen, remember, if the city would have signed that agreement, the issue of the benefits wouldn't have been brought forward because the other labor attorney would not have been contacted. We would have been past that. And the county would have been stuck with the issue. So, I mean, it's a good thing it went that way.
That's fine, but what I'm saying is now is we need to move forward with the issue of this vote. And when negotiations continue, we need to have all of the legal counsel present. It needs to be an open meeting. And we need to have all of the cards on the table so that we don't run into this. Because this is 16 months wasted.
We made the offer to the city yesterday. Move into dispatch, keep your employees, and we'll let you use the facility.
And they said, no.
There was no
We need to have a vote of the council.
They have to have a council vote. But, there again, we, tonight, whether council decides to move over into this building and continue on, we have an issue with space needs. Because 911 equipment its lifespan is going on us. And that's the urgency that Sean's talking about. We have, there are issues.
Larry, can I just clarify something quick?
You bet.
It's not that on January 1, the equipment's just gonna blow up and stop working. It's a matter of,
Yeah,
it's a matter of service, you know, if something were to break down,
It won't be
it won't,
supported.
right, support goes away. So I just,
it doesn't go all the way. And you're right, thank you for correcting.
I had a couple people ask me that.
Yeah, well, that happens in movies, but the thing is, we are getting too involved, as Sean said, in I hate to call them minor details, but they're smaller details. My concern is for the 10,000 plus people of this county. We need to furnish them a reliable system. And we're getting away from that over issues that they can be solved. But I presented to you guys, and I'm gonna ask you all, here again, I'm sorry, I wasn't gonna interrupt again, but you have this system with Clinton County. It is a commission that is a proven model. It does work. There are gonna be union issues. They had union issues at Sarasota County when they moved that. County, I understand that when an employee moved from one agency to the landfill, they lost seniority, they lost seniority. That's a union issue. That's not gonna be this commission's concern.
It is gonna affect.
It will affect,
Approving.
it will affect what this commission decides down the road. It's gonna affect the budget that you present. Now, the thing is, they said, one of the things was said that we'd go to a commission, and then maybe the commission would accept the benefits. Emergency management, you are under the code, you function as a county entity, so we have to follow the county. And that's the code of Iowa under emergency management. We have a lot of leeway what we can do as far as the communications commission, but if you're gonna tie it into emergency management, it makes you a county entity. So we have to follow the county guidelines. That's where the labor attorney for the county is gonna have to visit with the attorney for the city. They're hashing out. That's not gonna be our responsibility. We need, tonight, I'm gonna ask this. We're gonna let them work out the financial side of it. But we need to have, are we or aren't we going to form a communications commission?
Well, and Callaway says, you know, if they approve in concept, the negotiations can still be between the city and the county. That's what he told me today.
If the commission agrees to the concept, then we need to have one, in my opinion, we need to have one long day of negotiations where this commission, representatives from the city of Hampton, Franklin County, and legal counsel sits down at the table so that we don't end up doing this again. Because, you know, we received legal advice that was a good agreement. League of Cities, City of Hampton, both signed off that, both those attorneys signed off that was a good agreement. So we have two separate groups of attorneys who disagree.
That's why they have lawsuits.
Absolutely.
I agree with Mike on the equal opportunity as far as dental and vision. I mean, you can't have 4 employees that have it and then everybody else in the county that doesn't have it. How hard is it to, not that I want less for our dispatchers, how hard is it to sign off have them sign off on.
In my mind, that's between the dispatch, that's a condition of employment, that's between the dispatchers and the hiring entity. I don't think that's an issue for this group, necessarily to get muddled up in.
Sure.
I think the offer needs to be made, and if they accept it, what they need to be guaranteed is that they'll be guaranteed a place at the table.
Sure.
An offer. Now, whether they accept that offer or not, I would say that the agreement maybe possibly went too far into the details.
Sure.
They need to be guaranteed a place at the table. They need to be guaranteed their seat.
I don't know if that's ever been a problem.
I think it'd be fairly easy, Sean, if we somehow, if they can remain city employees. And he says the way that has to happen is the city is the physical agent, if it's the communications commission or something like that, then it would make it a very, he said it would make it a very easy, doable thing, because they'd still be city employees and the money would still flow through emergency management.
Well, first thing that has to happen is we have to have a vote here.
Right.
And then based on that vote, then the city council can have a vote on what our next steps need to be in the city with regards to those employees, so.
Sean, any questions?
Basically, I mean, you guys are both in agreement that we should do a communications commission, City of Hampton and the county.
Yeah,
Both wanting this.
these principles here that Larry has laid out were the easy part.
Well, we never, in the agreement we had, we never talked about it, communications commission, we just talked about emergency management.
Right. Yeah, in the agreement that the city council passed, it was assumed, and that was passed on to the county and was presented to this commission earlier this month. It was assumed that the emergency management commission would be the managing entity of communications, considering it's the same.
So this group would be the commission. That's what you're
This-
saying.
Either way, this group is the
Either
commission.
way, yeah.
Sure.
It's just a matter of being on a separate meeting.
And it probably should be. I mean, I don't see why it shouldn't be. I mean, we all use 911.
Well,
I mean,
the way it's set up, the same people in our emergency management that are on the proposed communications commission. And like Sean says, why have two meetings if we have the same individuals?
I'm saying for town-wise, we should have responsibility, for these dispatchers as well as Hampton should.
So,
Because it is the our tax to the Franklin County that's paying for, one dispatch.
little Mike.
Just
I
curious.
can't call you Mike in because I have two Mike kids.
Just curious, if we didn't form a commission, what would happen? Would just be a standpoint of nothing right now then?
In the city of Hampton and the county would have to go back and negotiation and things.
Sure. I was just curious.
But then the issue is, we replace equipment, they don't have the space for it.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah,
If I understand how the taxes are paid, you're saying that the rural county and then the city are paying for these services for dispatch. So in other words, the incorporated communities outside of Hampton are not at all. Is
Through
that correct?
taxation.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Through taxation.
through the county tax.
County.
Okay, so we are paying
Yes.
from a county standpoint, it's just that Hampton's getting hit twice.
That's how Hampton's getting hit twice.
Yeah, okay, so, if we were to break that up, and, then not do that, what's the impact, per thousand, or per capita? What would that change? I don't know what it is now, where would it go to? I'm just trying to, for our little town of 500 people, I mean, are we looking at $500 a
You
year?
don't want to pay what Hampton's paying. That's
Well,
why,
No,
I don't even know what the number is, I don't know.
I think it's around $20 a per
28,
capita.
wasn't it?
$27.
28.
Or
28,
20.
I believe.
I think,
So for our little town, it'd be $10,000 or a little over $10,000 a year. I'm just trying to,
Like
you
next
guys
year,
would be 20,000 and so forth. You aren't doing it now, that's what I'm saying.
I think yours came close to 30 something. And your city clerk clutched when she saw that number.
So much for that, really.
But like I said, if it's, and that's getting off of what we're doing, but if it's done that way, you've got a separate line item for,
Has it already been that way? Has it always been like this, or is this
Thank you,
what it's gonna
Anonymous.
change to?
it's always been that way.
Okay.
Okay, but the city does have a special line item for emergency management. And that's what the county does, is they put it in general supplemental
Yeah.
and under emergency management, that's how they tax for it.
I'm not saying it's wrong to do it that way, I'm just saying we never have.
Right.
So obviously the question's gonna arise.
Well, the question's arisen, it's never been an issue in the county, it's always, just went ahead and did it because it was easier. But now budgets are getting to the point, it's not easy anymore.
And we're just talking about dispatch here. If you look at Saragordo County, Saragordo County pays for their emergency management by per capita. Every city pays for it, and the county pays for the rural residents. At this point in time, Franklin County pays for emergency management. I just wanted everybody to be aware that the difference how Saragordo County does it and how Franklin County does it.
So let's say if we're assessed $28 per household or whatever, does that go right to the county for that? Or did they give it to cities and then we pay the county, or?
That would get paid into whoever is the physical agent for emergency management.
Okay.
It would be used to pay for dispatch.
And it would be through general supplemental, so it does not go into,
So do we think if we do this commission, we're gonna get the ball rolling on this?
And there's
it's
still
a step,
different,
it's a step forward.
and there's still different ways of funding it. So that's, that's just one avenue.
There'll be another night meeting on funding it. Tonight, are we going to do it? Honorable Mayor of Alexander, I do not have a joke for you, so you just have to.
I'll never live that down one. Well, I see on this, proposal here, the personnel will be considered county employees with salary and benefit package. So does that mean you're gonna offer them the same package the county has now?
See,
Or
there's gonna have to
right
be,
back where we were?
I think that's what was the sticking.
there's gonna have to be changes in that. I mean,
That's good.
We're offering what the county has now. They have a different package than what the county has.
and that's where we're gonna have issues going through this. If they are county
Right. So-
commission employees with a 28E, it's not gonna work. Unless you're gonna pay them the extra benefits, and I don't think they should have more than other county employees.
I think they should.
What's that?
I would think they would have to lose those because they're moving to a county. And I still think if we go on with this, I think they need to be county employees and not the city of Hampton employees. Because we are the ones funding it.
Well, then
Back
you're,
off.
then you're getting into the transferring of personnel and back into equal opportunity employment. You have to open that up for equal opportunity
We
again.
could offer it. I think you could. I think you could offer
Well-
that one.
The thing is, it has to be publicized.
Yeah.
See, that city is dead set against that.
That's,
I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but that's.
Well, that's what our attorneys have advised us, is that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that word.
But that's what the city has voted on, okay?
that's what they voted on. Their attorney has advised them it's good, and the county.
I'm just saying,
Which
if
is why
it's the counties, all of us paying for it, the smaller towns and everything, I think they should be county employees. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah, that's fine. The trouble is getting them there.
Okay.
That's the
what
trouble.
we just said.
That's right.
Maybe they have to,
That's the bump in the road, but tonight, right now, our mission is, do we or don't we formulate a commission? And, at this time, Hearing the discussion, I think it's time to call for vote. Do we, I need a motion, do we or don't we?
And follow this model. Is that what your proposal
Well, let's
is? Or you
Let's
just-
vote on the commission first, then we'll vote on the model second.
Are you voting on the commission or are you voting on the intent?
Voting on whatever the motion is.
I move that we, set up the commission. I mean, all this other is down the road, that's a separate issue. So, but in my mind.
You're saying set up a commission with the intent to move forward.
Yes.
I'll second that.
And we do have a quorum here.
Discussion, please.
No discussion? We've been asked for discussion. Motion's been made, seconded. No one's asked for discussion.
The only thing I have, we move forward, that's okay, but it needs to be stated in there that as we move forward, all parties agree to what the final proposal is. I mean, we're voting on this in concept, and that's fine. But it needs to, the final agreement, I mean, the city just can't say this is what we're gonna do, or emergency management, what we're just gonna do, or the county. All three entities need to agree to this, is what I'm saying.
My motion doesn't include any support one way or the other of this agreement. I guess that's all on the table to be decided by involved parties.
You're saying that the city and the county have to agree to form a communications commission?
No, we have to agree on the terms of bringing everybody together, right, Sean? Is that the way?
I guess his motion first is to
Yeah.
form a commission, and we have a second. So, you can cancel that.
We can still, that, you're right, discussion about it. We've got a motion, it's been seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Are you abstaining?
No, I'm going to.
No, I didn't. Okay,
Did you hear him at all, or is he locked?
no,
He's not.
he's not in. Oh, these people at the table are the only voting people here. Not that we're ignoring you, Jerry.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. You voted on it. The Franklin County Communications Commission. I have, for our next meeting, I will have the bylaws. I've already started on the additions to add communications to our emergency management. I do not want to rewrite all the bylaws, and, because you guys were so good before. I think it can be easily added to it. Now, I'm gonna ask you, I'm a non-voting member here unless it's a tie, and I don't think it's gonna be a tie, so I'm not gonna worry about it, so I'm gonna say it. What I'm proposing is the organizational fund format before you. Now, the question's gonna be, right now, funding on page 1. And, line, for the first section of personnel, it says where staff will be considered county employees, salaries and benefits. That part and the financing are the two issues that are gonna have to be worked out later. What I would propose that I wanna ask you to vote on accepting this format with the understanding that the funding and the personnel still have to be worked out. That means formation of, you guys will be, for the purpose of communication, will be the board of directors, who will establish a technical oversight board, not we, you will. And, we will work forward from that. So, does this look like a usable model to you?
Say again what we would strike off of this.
The only thing that's in question right now is underfunding, tax levy. That's gonna have to be worked out with all three entities.
Correct.
That's gonna have to be the city of Hampton, that's gonna have to be the county, and it's gonna have to be this commission. So that part, we would withhold at this time, and the staff, we consider county employees' salaries and benefit package, because that's gonna have to work out between the three entities. So the rest of the proposal that you have before you is what I would ask, or I should say, I recommend as a model for us to follow for this commission. But I would ask for a vote on it. If you don't like it, you got another idea, welcome to that idea too.
Any issue with the county employee handbooks, or how's that work?
Yeah, see, that can't be in there either, because you don't know who they're gonna be employed with.
I mean,
If they're
What you-
employees of the commission, they're gonna have to follow the county. Well, if it's a city, you know, all I'm trying to do is get a format so we can keep moving forward.
no, I agree, I'm just saying, I would include that. We're not gonna include talking about the salaries and benefit, which is fine, but does the county employee handbook fall in the same category, or not?
To me, it is, but I don't know if it is to everybody else.
Okay, then I will strike that.
Okay.
Any reference to?
So when are we gonna go through that? Are you guys gonna have something for the next meeting?
Yep.
For all that other stuff?
Well, we're gonna keep moving forward. We gotta do bylaws, additions. The proposal that I've got before you guys, do not, in this vote tonight, do not include the tax levy. It's still gonna be a pass-through for emergency management budget, because that's the only way it can be funded. So, and we will not be allowed to use that money for anything under emergency management. That's, it just can't be. It will be on a general supplemental budget. Then on the personnel, the staff and considered salaries and benefit package as county employees will not be in this discussion, nor will the county employees handbook. But if they're in this building, they're gonna have to follow the building protocols. I mean, that's just standard. And the technical group will draw up the standard operating procedure.
So if we vote to move ahead on this outlined agreement as amended, they can continue, the county and the city, to try to hammer something out, or is that correct?
All three entities will be involved in continuing on, but we need to
Okay.
get moving forward.
I got a question. It says the board of directors is composed of mayors of each community of Franklin County, a member of the board of supervisors, and a representative of the unbenefited fire districts of Franklin County.
Okay, that's what the city put it now,
Does that mean fire chief,
a fire chief
a fire chief?
from the unbenefited.
Okay.
Because, now, one of the things I want you to look at, under the technical, under the board of directors, this was in the proposal that came from the city.
Sure.
I have a representative of Franklin County Fire Service in here. And the reason I left that in there is for discussion. We have benefited and we have unbenefited fire districts in the county. But all members, or all fire departments, are eligible to be members of the Franklin County Fire Association.
Okay.
Tonight, one of the things that you're gonna have to decide is, do you want a representative of the fire service, the benefited and the unbenefited, both under the technical, or do you want the unbenefited under the board of directors? The reason the unbenefited is there is they don't have a mayor representing them. That's why it's there.
That's what unbenefited is.
Unbenefited are the departments that don't have it.
Sure.
Bradford, am I not right, Michelle?
Chief.
The unbenefited like Bradford and.
The unbenefited are those that are not benefited.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's like 5 benefited districts in the county. And Hampton, you know, Hampton's area is a benefited fire district.
No,
me, it
yeah.
is or isn't?
It
Benefited?
should be.
You know what, let's take a 5-minute break, I will get you the map and I will show it to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Just say it.
5 minutes. Be right back.
I think it's incorporated.
Well,
Town incorporated into that.
Answer our questions, so.
Did I?
Yeah.
You have all the answers for that?
No, I don't.
There are 5,
I'm gonna be calling you a lot more.
Oh,
there are 5 benefited fire districts in our county. And Michelle's gonna explain the difference between benefited and unbenefited.
a benefited fire district has the ability to levy taxes. Like Grant Lee is a benefited fire district. And we have them, they have the capability of levying taxes from those people that are just in that fire district, okay? Hampton is not in a benefited fire district, but Hampton, the city of, levies taxes to help with their fire. Okay, there's a portion of Wisner Township, just the northwest corner of Wisner Township, that is not in a benefited fire. So I think the city of Missouri helps pay, they levy taxes for that portion of the county. It's really kind of widespread throughout the county, the benefited fire.
Because the one in the south basically is Grant Lee.
This is the fire districts in the county, and everything that's in the color,
That's the benefited ones.
these are the benefited fire districts, so everything that's colored. So they're just a little different entity because they are able to levy taxes. They have their own budget, they have their year-end reports, and they levy taxes. Where, like the city of Hampton, the Hampton Fire Department doesn't have that ability to levy taxes because the city does it for them. In a nutshell.
Comment. Doesn't the Ingham townships, do they not levy taxes?
Hingham Township, the trustees levy the tax, is that not correct?
They help,
And
yes,
then,
yes.
so they,
I was just trying to figure out what the difference was.
well, let me see if I'm understanding it also, because that, so the Hansel Fire Department, actually, our budget comes from city of Hansel
Yep.
and from Ingham Township. If the the Hansel Fire Department then was a benefited district, we would set a tax for the district, and the city and the trustees would be out of that process.
Correct.
So it'd be a budget and a tax for Hansel.
Okay.
It's confusing.
I think that's the way Alexander is set up. Alexander is considered rural, so we don't actually have a city fire department. It's all under taxation. The people in Alexander, as well as county people outside, pay the same
Same amount across the board.
I see.
So
There's not
that would
two
be the
different-
difference for us.
There's two different tax levies for us,
Yes.
basically.
Yes,
Okay.
the township and the city.
We have, the Hansel Fire Department has a budget, but it's fed by Hansel, and it's fed by Ingham Township.
Okay, thank you.
So the rest of your motion, and it's my fault, I forgot to strike that part of it. You want the unbenefited fire districts represented in that, or in your communications commission, or are we gonna just stay with
If I may.
Yes, absolutely. I'm at a loss here.
No, well, I'm just questioning whether we need another vote here. Because we voted on the concept.
Okay.
And I think, based on the amount of questions here, I think it would be wise for everybody to study this and then come back to a meeting that is intended to formulate an agreement, would be my thought. So that they have their questions prepared and they've got this studied. Because I just think we've agreed and we've had our vote that this is the direction we're going to go. Now we need to move forward. That's my thought. If you disagree, then
Motion made and seconded now.
What was the motion, I'm sorry?
To go with this format.
Yeah, so that's already been passed.
We already took the vote.
Not for this.
For
Yeah,
We just voted on establishing
the commissions.
we
Right,
established,
we voted on that.
establishing
Oh,
communication.
Right.
were asking for.
I don't think we have a motion for this.
Yes, we
No.
can.
There's a couple things I'd like to change.
Can't make that. So what I would do, I would suggest let's call for the vote. And, vote no, and then, vote no, and we'll readdress it at the next meeting. But we have a motion and we have a second, so we have to continue.
I think that was just for the.
I don't think we had a motion to.
You didn't have a motion, I don't think anybody motioned it.
What did you,
Oh, the commission is what we already passed.
Then-
I was confusing that with,
okay, well, I'm confused then too, so
yeah.
we'll just.
We were
stop at
discussing,
that.
we were discussing
No
this.
We were just,
No
we're on
motion.
discussion of format.
Okay.
Improving the
Okay,
format.
we have no vote, so then we'll hold off on that. We'll hold off on that. That would be very good. The next line item was discussion of bylaws. I've already started on those. I will have them for the next meeting.
Yeah, I think, we can just amend the bylaws that are
Yes.
currently in place, right?
Yes. Yeah. That was the advice I was given, just amend what we have in place. And so, and that's a lot simpler, a lot easier. And we do have 100% signed off on the initial. So there. Now for the fun stuff. Update on storm damage in Franklin County recently. Yesterday? Yeah, not that recent. We have filed with the state of Iowa. We have a state declaration, disaster declaration. We do not have a presidential. That's one thing we want to bring up to you guys tonight because people are asking. We had enough with the first go-rounds before the tornado to get the state declaration. One of the reasons we were pushing for the state declaration because the Department of Ag, NRCS, there's a lot of farm ground structures and stuff were damaged. They could not move forward with their disaster plans unless the county had a state declaration. That's why we pushed that issue. Well, then, of course, then we have the night of the Twisters came through. That damage was added to our current total. And between that, I'm not sure what county is gonna have damages from last night.
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
We have roads going under. Be advised, they did evacuate New Hartford this afternoon, and there was discussion on evacuating Shell Rock, so fortunately, we're far enough upstream not to be an issue there, but, so there's a lot going on with the storms. One of the nice things we're able to, and I want to bring out to you guys tonight, we're able to add that up. It's not just this storm by itself. So we're working towards getting the presidential declaration, because there was an issue brought up, a heating and cooling business called, and they had a customer whose furnace was damaged by water and stuff, and they were inquiring as to whether we had our presidential yet, because apparently there was some monies they knew that they could get if we had the presidential. We don't have it yet, we're trying, but it's not in place, so. As emergency management, that's stuff that you gentlemen are at, you will be interested in. And Thomas hasn't been told yet, but he is going to educate us into what emergency management, what our jobs are supposed to be. And I'm very pleased with the participation we got here. I think we got a good group, we can work together. I think we get a lot of good things going. But with you young guys, we want you to understand what the job is. And I was negligent in the past by not starting on that back when I started. So I'm not gonna make that mistake this time. You guys will understand what our job is, and hopefully you get really involved with it. That's all I got for storm damage. Next meeting date, this date seems to work out pretty well for everybody. So,
Good same date next month?
I would say that it was fourth Tuesday. It gets to the 23rd, July. That should work for everybody, shouldn't it? I will have drafted of our bylaws and conditions that we need, and I'll type up another copy of this if you want, or if you've got some concerns, please email me, and I know we all got email.
No, wait a minute. Oh, wait.
So, and that'll be our next one. You gentlemen will try to get powers to be together, and see if we can work out. As far as, can we do that, or what?
Does emergency management want to be involved in negotiations now?
They will be.
I think they have to be there. But the issue is, not that we're ganging up on the city, but the attorney will be the county's legal representative, so.
So not all of us will be here at the next meeting?
No, next week, we're all gonna be at this next meeting.
All these,
But there, I want to get started to get things together. If they get something close, then I'll make sure that it's on the agenda for this, our next meeting.
If I'm there, it'll be an open meeting and you'll be more than welcome to attend.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, hey, I told you a long time ago, when we first got it, I'm gonna use it, If I got somebody with an interest, I'm gonna let him run with it. 23rd, 7 o'clock. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen, young lady, old guy with a hat, thank you.
Yep, it was a good meeting, guys.
you do, Jerry.